Everyone, thanks for hopping on today. I'm really excited. This has been a project of mine for, gosh, it's been in planning for months and months and months, but we've been able to get to a point where we actually can start to implement, which is always the best thing. So first of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone for hopping on. Looks like more and more people are joining us. So at any time during the presentation, feel free to ask questions and in the group, and I have the comments area popping up. So I'll put a note in here to ask questions as needed. So what's up, Noel? How you doing, man? Awesome. All right, cool. So yeah, so we've been obviously looking at BoxBuilder. It's been up since last August. We're working with about 100 gyms around the world, and we've been really able to see a lot of really cool things, a lot of great ideas, a lot of suggestions, a lot of new feature updates. We got the whole new platform release. We've just had a really awesome past 6 months, sharing this with the affiliate, the gym owner world, and we're definitely looking to still grow that. So today what I want to do is actually share with you kind of our next version, our next phase in our product, and one of our new products that we're releasing to the group. So just so you guys are all aware, this product is only going to be available to BoxBuilder clients, current clients for now. And then in the future, we plan on releasing this to other people. So you guys get first look at it, and you guys are going to help us develop this new 6-week challenge journey. So with that in mind, I'm going to begin this presentation and just kind of talk to you guys a little bit about how to crush a 6-week challenge, right? So the whole purpose of this is to give you guys some of the tools. If you run challenges in your gym, or you're thinking about running challenges, or you never even heard of this before, these are going to be some tools that you can take away directly from this presentation, implement into your gym, and see how that changes your or impacts your client experience and your growth. So let me make this full screen. View present. Cool, awesome. All right. So title is BoxBuilder Presents: How to Crush the 6-Week Challenge. So I want to start with this quote from Mark Cuban. So I think most of you guys know Mark Cuban, owner of the Dallas Mavericks. He's a billionaire. He created a little company back in the, I think, late 90s, and then sold it and became a billionaire out of nowhere. So I'm a big fan of Shark Tank. I really enjoy that show. And this is a quote he says all the time. It says, "Sales cure all. Know how your company will make money and how you will actually make sales." So when I talk to a lot of gym owners, and we're doing 20, 30, 40 demos a month with gym owners in the CrossFit space, our space. And one of the biggest challenges that I hear from those gym owners is, how do I make sales? Like, how do I increase my leads? How do I do this? How do I do that? It's not super complex. It's really actually kind of a simple process. But the key thing is you got to make sales. And so you guys may have seen over the last probably 2 or 3 years in our space, people have been offering these 6-week challenges with companies like New You or Best Self Challenge, or you have some newer companies or newer things coming to the market like Gym Launch or Factory Forge, or some of these other guys out there doing this, right? And so I like this quote because sales does cure all. Now, only temporarily. You have to have the systems in place to make sure that you're not just filling a bucket that has a hole in it. So let's go on. Let's talk a little bit why 6-week challenges work, right? Well, first of all, they're a huge influx of cash. If you're doing your due diligence and you're getting enough leads and you're making the sales, I mean, it's not atypical to see gyms crush and do $20,000 in 1 month extra, or I think the biggest one I saw was 45,000, and that's just in the last few weeks. And they do that through a variety of ways. I mean, they can pre-sell, 6-week challenge for $200, $300, 4, 5. I've even seen as much as $600. And it's all about the presentation and about the leads. And I'll get into some details about the types of challenges. but it's a great, huge influx of cash. It can fix a business that's failing temporarily, but does it fix them in the long term? And that's kind of what we'll try to discover over the next few minutes we're talking. It's definitely a unique client onboarding experience. And so, you know, in the CrossFit space, you know, I've had our gym since 2013. I've tried every single type of onboarding that that's out there. So I've done jump right into classes and do the ghost protocol. I've tried the one-on-one only. I've tried group. I've tried rolling start group. I've tried 3 weeks. I've tried 2 weeks. I've tried 1 week. I've tried 1 single day foundations. I've tried all the different onboarding experiences. But what's unique about the 6 week is 6 weeks is almost just the perfect amount of time to get somebody to build a habit and get excited about what you're doing. The other thing is with 6 week challenges is that it is the opportunity to create massive lead generation. And there's a couple of different ways you can do this between a paid and a free challenge. And I'll get into that. Here in just a little bit. And then the other thing, it's a clear sales system, right? So what I mean by that is it's kind of easy to sell. Like, you know, when people come in, you know, if you think about what the lead mindset is, if you think about, you know, when people are starting something new, like a CrossFit or something in the gym, you know, if there's a clear start and end date, that makes it really easy to say, hey, you're going to get this much value over 6 weeks, and here's the price, and here's how all this stuff works. So it's kind of a clear, defined system, and so that makes it really easy, or a lot easier to sell as you're going through this. So there's kind of 2 types of challenges out there. There's the free challenge, which is what you've been seeing probably in the last 6 months in the CrossFit space. If you spend any time in, whether it's the CrossFit Affiliate Owners group or the Affiliate Owners Only group or any of those other groups on Facebook, you're seeing a lot of chatter about how a certain company or two has saved their business because they taught them how to run a free 6 week challenge. There's also a paid challenge. So what I'm going to do is get into kind of the specifics and why you would consider one or the other. So first of all, in the free challenge, here's what's going to happen when you run a free challenge. So typically you'll set some type of ad that talks about the challenge, why it's free, what the benefits are, you know, maybe some testimonial type information, what type of people you're looking for, etc. And then what's going to happen is you're going to generate a lot of leads. If you're spending the money, if you are you know, doing the advertising and targeting the right type of people in your local market, you're going to generate tons of leads. Last time I ran one of these was in January. We generated 300 leads off of about a $315 ad spend. So very, very low cost per lead. However, the problem there is you're going to get a huge quantity of leads, but your quality of leads are going to be all over the map, right? And so depending on membership prices and what people value, you know, your level of service, you're going to get people that come through the door that will never buy, would never buy, and then you'll get people that come through the door and, you know, that can't afford what you're offering. The other thing with the lead is they're actually kind of entitled, and they may not be entitled when they first come in, but it happens at some point during the challenge. They feel entitled because you're giving them this much value, but they're not paying anything for it. So let me explain a little bit how a free challenge actually works. So typically what happens is you advertise it free, and you probably should put something like this on the actual landing page that people, you know, sign up. But it's going to require some type of deposit. And typically that deposit's a high enough number that motivates people to come and show up each and every day. So for example, the conversation might go something like this. Hey, they walk in the door, you know, you start finding out their pain points and why they're, you know, there and how you can help them and kind of having that conversation. And then you talk about registration. So registration would look like this. All right, so to get started with our free challenge, there's a deposit of $500. Now that deposit is completely applicable to be either used as a credit or a full refund. That's totally up to you and your gym. but the credits use, or that deposits use as a motivational tool for you to complete the challenge. And so you'll start giving them all these requisites of what they have to do to earn their money back or earn the credit, which would be things like attend all the 18 sessions, follow the nutrition plan and logging it, hitting a goal and achieving that. You can come up with as many of those different ideas, like, hey, you have to lose 20 pounds in the 6 weeks, or whatever the case may be. You set the goals of how they get their money back. This is the same thing that a lot of these big companies out here that are running these programs for people or helping them run it. That's what they're teaching them, basically. So the key thing is here, what about the conversion rate, right? Well, ideally in any challenge type program, it's going to be low. It's going to be a lower conversion rate because of the type of lead. But there is some ways to work through that, and there's some psychology you can do throughout the challenge to help identify a clear path to get them to convert from a free challenge member to a paid, recurring member. That's the whole purpose of these challenges. The last thing I want to reiterate is the bait and switch. This definitely has that potential to become a bait and switch if your terms aren't clearly identified on your landing page before they ever walk through the door. So be very, very careful if you're thinking about running a free challenge, because it can really put your reputation online, and you have to consider your leads, who are people who probably have a lot less disposable income, and so they're going to feel cheated if you run this bait and switch type model. So I recommend being very, very upfront with the people, be very explicit in the agreement that they sign, and have it all in writing, because you don't want that to tarnish your brand. Free challenge, pretty similar setup. It depends on time of year and how good your ad is, but you'll have a pretty moderate lead count. Although when we've run these in the past, I mean, I've had as many as selling 50 people in a paid challenge. I've sold as few as like 12 or 13. You're going to pre-qualify these people ahead of time. So they're going to be pre-qualified based on price. So you'll advertise your price on the landing page, and that's what they'll pay. So you'll see numbers from, gosh, I've seen as low as $100 for the 6 weeks to $200, $300. I've even seen $500 in the paid challenge, but that makes things a little bit harder. I think the key price point is somewhere in the $200 to $300 range. And then your conversion rate is kind of the same thing. You're going to convert a few less unless you have a clear path. And it depends on the group. So probably a conversion rate of, we've seen as low as 40% and as high as 90% in our example. All right, so how do you maximize some of the revenue? Well, it depends on what type of start. So I'll get into that here in a minute. If you do a rolling start or a event-based start. I'll explain the difference between there. But when they come in for their first visit, you have a really cool opportunity to do some upsells. And you guys can do this on the first day that they join, come into for classes, or you can do this at the initial sales presentation. Last time we ran this in January, we were able to upsell some additional training sessions on Sundays for about $20 a session, which was a pretty great profit maximizer for us. We sold one person into PT. One thing that I didn't do this time, but we'll do in the future, is actually, people want to buy the apparel of the program they're doing. They would love that. So I had people actually suggesting that we should make t-shirts for people to purchase. If you have an in-body machine, there's a really cool opportunity there to upsell like halfway into the program an additional in-body scan, because there is some people want to see their progress halfway through. Supplement packages, nutrition packages. This one's actually really huge. We ran this a couple times working with a local company where they can actually buy out a whole 6 weeks worth of meals that are delivered to the gym every week, and they can just pick them up. So there's some huge money in that. And then there's some other things you can do in that initial sales presentation. So let's talk a little bit about challenge stacking and event versus rolling start. So an event start basically means you have a defined set sales cycle. So probably 2 to 3 weeks before the first event, right? And so all you're going to do for those 2 to 3 weeks are set up the ads, run the ads, spend the money, and get people in the door to pay for the event, right? So they're going to get registered, and you're going to have them come back on a specific date, and that's when things kick off. I've seen some gyms do it on Saturdays, on Sundays. We've always started ours on Mondays, and what's really nice about that is everybody that's in the program, so whether it's 5 people, 10 people, or 30, 40, or 50 people, they're all going to begin at the same time. And that's going to be a really, really awesome experience for them. So I've seen gyms do this with every 6 or 8 weeks. I've seen gyms do this, start 3 weeks, start another 3 weeks later. It just depends on space. It depends on your hours and what you guys can offer. Event starts are a really great way to get started, to feel this out, to see how it works. And then it all really depends on time of year, because sometimes times of the year are better to bring people in than others. The second piece is a rolling start. And so we actually ran this for about 2 years in our gym with a 2-week foundations program. And the way this typically works is you're consistently onboarding people every week. So this could be a free class. This could be, you do your similar sales cycle of meeting with them, and then they would start their 6-week journey on the next following Monday and go 6 weeks. This works really well if you have a class that's just designed for those people. The downside to this is you're not going to have that group environment consistently with people going through the same unique touch points. The other thing is you do have to have a really strong system, because it's easy to let those people get lost, because once they finish the 6 weeks, if you're not following up with them and you don't have a good way to track them through the whole 6 weeks, you're really going to put yourself at a disadvantage, because they'll get lost. And so that's why tools like BoxBuilder are so important to have, so you can actually measure all of this. So what is the problem, though? Like, why 6-week challenges? I've read an article a while back from a consultant in the industry, and said the 6-week challenge is the new Groupon, right? And while I understand where he was coming from, I don't necessarily think it's the proper model. And so we've seen in the last 3 years or 4 years in the CrossFit space the evolution of the challenge. It started off as people outsourcing, companies to do their Facebook ads. The 6-week challenge, though, has actually been around for probably since at least the 90s, if not earlier. People have been running boot camps in parks ever since then. So is it sustainable? I think so. I think we're always going to have that as part of our market. You just have to decide, in your case, is it the right choice for you and your gym and your brand, and how consistently you want to run it. The lead mindset is also another area to think about. Depending on what type of challenge you run is depending on what type of people you attract. Are those the people that are going to ascend into your program long term? And then our conversion rates are low. Well, at the outskirt, it looks like they are 40%. But if you're bringing 40, 50 people in every time you do a challenge, you'll have a lot of upfront revenue, plus converting 20 to 30 of those people. You can definitely grow your business significantly in a year by running these consistently. But there's also even better ways, though, to ascend those people and get them into a long-term membership at some key touch points during the 6 weeks. So, but yeah, that's a quick rundown of like the breakdown of what people have been doing in the 6-week challenge. So I want to show you guys a couple examples of what we call the $1 million landing page. So if you've ever demoed a gym launch product, a factory forge product, or any of these other companies running 6-week challenges, you're going to see some type of landing page like this, right? These landing pages, the first time I probably saw a landing page like this was probably 4 or 5 years ago when I started my gym. And this is what they're running. They're nothing unique. They're nothing special. Some of these are more professional looking than others. But I can tell you this, these landing pages have generated millions and millions of dollars in revenue for many, many gyms all over, I know for sure, the United States, because I talk to these gyms all the time. And you can see these big numbers. And this is it, though. We have a similar product in our ClickFunnels that you guys can get. But yeah, so it works. This stuff works. So cool. So let's talk about BoxBuilder. Enough about the challenges and how all that stuff works. Let's talk about our solution to help you execute your challenge. So the reason we built this out is I've been running this in my gym for a little over 3 years now, maybe 3.5. And a lot of our clients are asking me, how do I execute a 6-week challenge within the framework of BoxBuilder? Well, you can run it right now. You can set up all of the funnels you want to set up. You can run people through our campaigns that are already included, and those are going to work just fine. I've ran a few challenges through that and haven't had any issues. But I know it's a better experience if you can really write out or create the unique journey for a client going through that experience. And so I had this written out about, I don't know, it was probably 2 years ago. 2 years ago, and I've been fine-tuning it ever since then. And so what I want to do today is actually kind of peel back the curtain, show you kind of behind the scenes of what our journeys look like and why we think this is really one of the best client experiences for people going through that program. And then I'll talk to you guys about how to get started with this. So let's hop out of here. All right, so this is a program I use called Funnelytics. It helps me map out my whiteboard. So I usually write everything out on the whiteboard, rethink through it, and then I use a program like this to kind of map it out so that it's easy for us to build into BoxBuilder. So let me kind of show you guys what it looks like. We'll kind of dig through. Some of you may care about this, some of you don't, but this is a pretty cool client experience. So our new lead campaign is approximately 3 weeks. And that's to mirror like a typical 6-week challenge sales cycle. So when a lead hits the system, we're going to do some very similar things that we do in the new client journey in BoxBuilder Core. They're going to get the thank you email as well as a text. We're going to send a reminder. Actually, I moved this out into a different spot. And then over the next week or so, 10 days, they're going to get some reminder texts as well as emails. From the staff side, you're going to get the initial contact task. You're also going to get the new lead SMS notification, as well as the email. So that's pretty similar to the current experience. So what happens if somebody comes in through here and books their appointment and everything and doesn't show up? Well, you're actually going to move them to this new phase of the journey, which is our unsure, still thinking. So this is some very strategic campaign that's designed to get the person to take action if they walk out that door and they're unsure. So you'll just move the person to this campaign, and we'll send them a text and email over 4 days, that really getting them to take that trip. So why this really works and really works well is a lot of people that walk out the door will be on the fence. They're internally fighting with, they know they need this, but they're trying to figure out what the value is. So we have some really strong content here that's designed to get them to really consider that. So this is really a really cool, unique thing in the 6-week journey. So what happens after they fall out of the first 2 weeks? Well, after the 3-week mark, we're going to put them in this old lead campaign. So this is going to communicate with them for about 3 months after they initially come in. What's really great about this is going to give some clear call to action for them to get them back into the gym. It also allows you to identify when you start to market your next program, hey, here's all the people that maybe came in for an appointment but didn't actually buy. And so you'll be able to segment those in the BoxBuilder program. We'll show you how all to do that, but it's pretty cool. So what does the journey look like when they become a member? Well, we've really thought through each phase of that journey and really the 3 kind of major pieces. So, they're broken into like 2-week increments. So each week on typically the start date. What's really cool about our program, no matter if you run a rolling start or you run an event-based start, when people sign up, you can pause their start date until that actual date they begin. What's great is on that very first day, they're going to get an email that talks about all the details, and then they'll get this really cool SMS. 2 days later, we're going to send another SMS that says, hey, are you sore? We're starting to get the mindset of the lead, of the member, and what they're experiencing. So then each week on Mondays or whatever the start date is, you're going to get another email and then an SMS. And so we're going to repeat that process over the 6 weeks, with the whole goal is to help us send or get that person in the right mindset to give you things like a testimonial along with like the confirmation of they're having a great experience. But we do something really cool right in the middle of the whole experience is we talk to them about making a commitment. And this is really where you can get that person to make that commitment to being a member at your gym long term. So the content's really, really strong. I'm really, really happy with how it turned out, and I'm really happy with some of the results that we've seen so far from it. But here's the other thing. We don't let them get lost, right? So when they get to the final day of the 6 weeks, we want to make sure that you guys are informed and that they are, you're having the right process to send them out. So what we kind of do in this last final week is we're actually getting them to book appointments with you all, and that's in the content. So we'll show you how to configure all of that when you guys get this product on your account. So finally, we always got to talk about former members. And so if somebody ends up not translating or converting over to a member in the gym, we're going to automatically move them into the former member area. And so what we're going to do is communicate with them for about 6 months to try to get them back in the door at some point. So you won't have to actually move people through this. They'll automatically move into here 2 weeks after this final communication goes on day 50. So that's our 6-week challenge funnel. It's pretty robust. It's pretty unique. It's what we've come up with. We've been testing this, like I said, off and on for different years, different ways. But we really feel like we've built out something really, really special for our box builder gyms. So before I get into that, there's about 10 people on the call watching. What questions do you guys have about the journey or anything yet? Because I'm going to talk to you guys about next steps on how to get it started with this. You guys are probably delayed about 20 seconds, so I'll wait just a second. Cool. Well, I don't see any questions or my screen hasn't updated, so I'll keep started. So I want to talk to you guys about getting started with this platform. So right now, where the platform is at, the goal is to get all of this stuff to be put into your BoxBuilder Core account. However, we're not at that phase yet where we can build this new journey into BoxBuilder Core. And so what we're doing is we're opening up a beta access for 5 gyms to onboard in the next week or so. And so the way to get started with that is to just send me a note, say I'm in, and I'm going to get you the registration link, and we'll get that all set up. So you're basically going to have a second iteration of BoxBuilder that we'll set up a unique domain for. Mine is called Sweat Como, and then you can actually run your 6-week challenges separately from your core BoxBuilder account. The whole goal, though, is to get that stuff merged. Once we get to the point where we can actually merge the 2 journeys together, then we'll open access up to everybody in the platform as well as people outside of the platform. So this standalone journey, along with the whole box builder experience, would cost somebody coming in that just wants the 6-week challenge. It's going to be $300. But if you're a current box builder gym, you can get this whole experience added to your account for 50% off that number. So we're really excited to be offering this. We think it's a great fit, for gyms that are running 6-week challenges. I mean, that's been one of the biggest requests I've had as we've onboarded people over the last few months, and we're happy that we get to offer that. So with that, cool. Couple questions. Yep, couple questions. So Mark asks, all the content will be able to change to our needs, right? Yep, Mark, just like BoxBuilder, we have all the content, unique content. Yep, it's going to work exactly the same, just like that. So it'll be customizable on the gym level, be customized on the individual client level as well. Noel asks, is there texting? Yes, Noel. So half the campaign is text-based, right? So you can see that here, these campaign objectives, those are all, that content's text-based. So you guys can see that here. So email and text. So all the same features that you have in BoxBuilder, you're just getting another iteration of a BoxBuilder account, but specific to the the 6-week challenge experience. So Justin has a question about pricing. Yeah, so we're going to be offering this product as a standalone. So if you run a 6-week challenge and you want to use our platform to run your 6-week challenge, we're going to be able to offer this journey all by itself. So that's unique for, there'll be certain gyms that maybe don't want or don't need BoxBuilder Core, but they want just the 6-week journey and run everything through that. So those gyms, the pricing is going to be $300 a month for that experience. If you're a BoxBuilder client, you get this experience. You get a whole new account, and what the goal is to get it all in one account. But you'll get a whole new account with all the features of BoxBuilder plus the 6-week journey for 50% off of that amount. So $150 a month. So you can run all the 6-week challenges, run the rolling starts, however you guys want to run it. You guys can do that. The other thing I'm willing to add in, or kind of as a bonus, is I'm willing to help you guys with executing this at a high level. And that is because, we have our boot camp enrollment program blueprint. We created that about 3 years ago, and that's available to everybody. So if you take the blueprint, execute that, and combine that with BoxBuilder, the 6-week challenge journey, you're going to crush it. Absolutely crush it. So I'm willing to help you guys implement and do all of that too. So, Noel asked a question. I need the ability to make more than one appointment for me at one time. Is that coming? Noel, you actually can do that now. I'll show you guys. I can show you guys how to do that. I'll take that conversation offline and probably post it in the group. I think I did an example a while back. You can actually do that now. So if you want to onboard, 4 or 5 people at once for the same appointment, you guys can absolutely do that now. In the future, we'd like to have it a little cleaner than the way we have to do it. We have to kind of do a little hack to do it, but it still works just fine. We've been running that in our gym since BoxBuilder came out. Frank asked, does this include the sales funnels? Well, this is the entire funnel experience. We'll also include the landing page, which Frank, I believe you have access to, so we'll give that out as well. And then another question came in from Melissa. Is the journey SMS or email? It's actually a combination of both. So we know email communication works, and it works well, but we know SMS works even better. And so it's a combination of both email and SMS because we know, especially with challenge members and the people that we're recruiting this, it's a great fit to have both of those pieces in that journey. So cool. Any other questions out there? Cool. I don't think I've seen any come in. See a couple people that said they're in. That's awesome. Really excited. Like I said, I'm just going to hold this to the first 5 gyms that send me a note because there's going to be a little more work in the front end to get this all up and running. So I'm going to take definitely a one-on-one experience with each of those gyms. Once we are able to build it out and put it into each account, then we will open access, which will probably be in a month or so from now. So great. All right. Well, I don't see any more questions coming in, so I'll reach out to the few people that said they're in. If you are watching this video at a little bit later time today or tomorrow or whenever, feel free to reach out with any questions or post in the group, and I'd be happy to help. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Thanks so much for being a part of the BoxBuilder family, and we will chat soon. Thanks so much.